Winter is almost over. Here in Iowa, we're kind of dying. I don't like being cold, but one thing that the kind of closing of winter means is more travel, more adventure, more camping. And we're so excited to get outside and take some fun adventures. And the rooftop tent, for me and for my family, has really been a game changer, especially for my wife, who likes being comfortable and off the ground and not so vulnerable. So think about that. But we have had a few different brands of tents over the years. And then we finally discovered FSR, Free Spirit Recreation, and they just took a new innovative approach to the rooftop tent game. And their high country tent, which we've used for thousands and thousands of miles, many, many nights, is really an amazing piece of just well-designed gear. And one thing I've always found super annoying about rooftop tents, and some of you who are listening that have rooftop tents can relate to this, is like zippers and the springy pole things. Those things just became a real annoyance to me, almost to the point where I didn't want to use the rooftop tents anymore. But FSR has none of those. And seriously, in my opinion, some of the easiest to use and set up gear on the market. And they have some really new, exciting innovations that are going to be even better for 2020. One that I have on pre-order is the new Odyssey 55 Tri-Layer. We'll talk more about the Tri-Layer tech in another episode, in another time. But the Odyssey is a sleek-looking, load-carrying, capable hard-shell rooftop tent. 7 inches of total height in the closed position. Just a really cool kind of industrial chic look. It'll look right on your vintage 4x4 or any vehicle for that matter, but also just love so many things. And we're going to talk more about this tent in the future, but go check out the FSR Odyssey 55. You can check it out on GoFSR's social media or on their website and get one on pre-order, man. It's going to be fun. But elevate your next adventure with FSR. Go check them out. All right, welcome to the show. We're back with Luke.
Hello.
This is kind of like a bonus episode, if you will.
Okay.
Luke and I are gonna. We're not the most interesting guys in the world.
One of us.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about the secrets to tackling winter projects. Because I think there are some secrets to get things done. I know when we talked. Back
when
we've talked about this around this subject a bit before,
it's but this ongoing struggle.
That's for sure. So, but first, I want to get into kind of what's coming up 2020 for us, because there are some events that are necessitating and inspiring the work that needs to be done. Kind of on our scouts, we have multiple projects, but. So what's on the plate? We got Moab. We're going back to Moab 2020.
Moab, Overland Expo, and then a little cruising around afterwards.
Yes, and then the really big one is we're going to be tackling the Doozy Ursham. And for those of you that don't know, I'm not an expert in any way, but the Doozy Ursham is always this kind of trail of legend that I've heard about. It's like the Rubicon times 4. So it's like an overland version of a rock crawling kind of trail.
It's sort of like a less commercialized version of the Rubicon.
Yeah, for sure.
More unknown.
I think it's harder to get to.
Okay.
It's harder to do. It's more remote. Everything about it is just really awesome. But we're taking the Terribles and we're bringing, going with a couple of really special friends. But you can't just bring a non-prepared vehicle.
If you break down in the Doozy, you're days away from
anything. And like for us, like we live in Iowa, so we're not only on a remote trail, but we're also 2,000 miles from home. So that was kind of some of the inspiration of getting our rigs prepared, which Luke and I, and this is something we have danced around, and I want you to let's just hash it out today.
Okay, let's do it.
Because we approach our terribles in a little bit of a different way.
Yeah.
Okay? But first, tell me from your perspective, because like, why tackle big things? Like, because what is your feeling like when I say we're going to go do the Doozy Ursham? I think, to be fair, there's some like, I don't know if I want to do that, but like, yeah, it's amazing. So tell me your
Certainly
perspective.
easier not to do that. That's for sure. But there's just a unknown, getting into new things, learning stuff, figuring things out.
Yeah.
I don't know. And if you actually make it through, there's a enormous satisfaction in the just the conquering this obstacle.
Yeah, and it's I agree. Like, I kind of feel like totally the same. Like, the 46-year-old me is just like, man, let's just stay at home and watch some more YouTube videos.
Watch other people do the doozy.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. And that's something that's so important to us is we talk all the time about inspiring people, but we also need to be inspired, and we seek and we get inspiration from other people that do big things. And it's awesome, man. It's good to suffer. It's good to stretch yourself. Like, all this is unknown for me. It would have been, we were planning to go do the Rubicon.
And you've done the Rubicon. So
Yeah.
You're a little bit versed and you kind of know.
Yeah, Fordyce, Rubicon, like that was all of our stomping grounds back in the day. And it's those are amazing. The scenery's the most beautiful in the country, in my opinion. The challenge is amazing. Everything about it's really, really cool. But back then, I used to trailer my truck basically to the trailhead, and then who cares? And then take all the most difficult lines.
At that point, you just abuse it, and all you got to do is get back to the parking lot.
Yeah. So this trip, we're gonna take our Scouts, which are all like early 70s, early to mid, like 70s. They're not fully restored. They're not like competition rock crawlers. They're just average guy, old tech trucks. You can listen to our episode about the Terribles, or you can check out the videos on YouTube. But that's the trucks that we're taking because we want to kind of, again, reconnect with an old way of traveling. And it's going to be big, man. And we're driving them. So we got to drive them 2,000 miles on the road. So like, I'm starting to think about, and Luke is like one of my road trip heroes. I don't know if we've talked about this on the show before, but last year when we were coming back from Moab, was one of the grittiest road trips I've ever experienced.
It was gnarly.
Meaning through you, like by watching you, because Luke's Terrible has no doors. Well, it's got these half doors.
Half doors. Doesn't do much.
But what was that like, man? Just
Well, so it's just rainstorms and snowstorms the whole way, as it turned out.
no windows, no side windows.
And so you just, it's just, I mean, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but you just get your sensory overload because it's noisy, it's windy, you're just getting beaten. And so like an hour in the Terrible is probably like a 10-hour regular road trip. I would equate it to.
And like you wear a garbage bag to stay dry.
Yeah, I had a garbage bag skirt for the rain. And
what was the funniest story is like we have a bunch of we bring camera crews typically, like great guys and gals, but they would be like, I want to drive a Scout. Like, can I drive? And finally, Luke, you're like, sure, you can drive. And literally, like, I don't think any one of those people lasted more than an hour. And they're just like, forget it. This is awful.
It's an abrupt entry.
Like on that perfect day when it's like 74 and sunny.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's great.
Then you can you're hearing the noise, like nature, and you're in it, and it's fun, but
Right.
it'll turn on you quick.
So, and we've taken quite a few trips in the Terribles, and any of you out there that have had an old, original old muscle car or an pre-war kind of that kind of car or an old SUV and have taken a serious road trip, it is next level. You take for granted how many comforts and just kind of how easy it is to drive a modern vehicle, like road noise or heat, like not having AC or but even wind noise, dude, it just wears you out.
Brutal, man.
Oh man. So that's some of the stuff, and some of this, as we talk about winter projects, I'm thinking Man, I want to
I got
keep.
plans for it.
Okay, okay.
We got some door modifications going on. It's gonna be good.
So, when you set your mind to an adventure, like, so there's that moment where you go, I'm doing this. And then there's a moment that you have to go, okay, what is the first step? So, like, we've talked about, like, climbing, and we love to climb or take a mountaineering trip. You know, then that first step is like, okay, I got to get in shape. And many of you that are listening have said, like, I'm going to run a half marathon or a 10K or whatever the goal might be. You have to take that first step. With a, you know, like our kind of solo, like a more solo dudes trip, with a vehicle, it's like, okay, let's get the vehicle prepped. But if it's with a family, it's kind of a complete, like when I travel with my family, and you'll see if you're watching this on video, these are both version 1 and 2 of my family road trip vehicles. The White Scout behind me, I got in 2010 from my father when he passed away. And so like from 2010 to probably 2017, we put about 20,000 miles, 15 to 20,000 miles of just road trips with my 4 kids, my wife, and our dog.
That's a pretty tight squeeze.
Yeah, and it's original power. AC kind of works. So we've gone through, experiences when it's 100 degrees outside.
I remember you had all the little battery powered like Walmart fans.
Yeah.
Double stick taped to the ceiling that you're turning.
And you just look in the back and your kids are just whimpering, like they're just crying a little bit because it's like so uncomfortable. But it's built them carry. It's been good for them. And then this Suburban, we got that in like 2017, probably 2016, 2017. LS swapped it, and that's kind of like the next level of comfort and capability. Not that it's more capable, but it's quieter. Mm-hmm. It can drive faster, more space. So that's kind of our context. That's the nicest rigs that not nicest, but the new, like they're old.
It's a pretty road trip.
78
rig.
and a 91.
That's good.
So here, what we're going to talk, and Luke and I, we tiptoe into this topic a little bit because we're not the most prolific people on the earth as far as like getting projects done. So we're going to speak just some tips and secrets and like motivations that get us out of
share our own struggles and little things we learned. I like it.
So winter projects.
Oh man.
Okay, first off,
so many.
Yeah, exactly. How many winter projects do you have?
There's vehicles.
Just well, that's right.
Vehicles and motorcycles, or like just.
What else do you have?
Well, I don't know. Just like I'm building a bookshelf. I got little knife projects I'm working on. Just like things that.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't think about that because like the knife sharpening or knife building, like that's like you can kind of be warm, do it inside your place, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. But I got like 10 to 20 to 30 like little projects of things I'm building or working on or like messing with or that kind of stuff. Vehicle projects, mainly just 3.
All right, what do you got?
Got the Terrible that I really got it. So that's going to start becoming a time crunch here. I got my yellow truck, which is kind of overdue for some stuff. And I happen to have warm storage, so I dive into that. And then I got that BMW 2002 that's been ongoing.
Super sweet, though.
Super sweet.
I can't wait for that one. Okay, and
what do you got?
Well, I have way too many, too. And that's
okay.
Maybe we'll get into this as a, like, I don't.
What you want to list your top couple projects?
Yeah, because I have way too many projects, and then like a lot of people have like analysis paralysis, where you just like have too many projects, and you don't like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to set time aside. Like and then you do nothing.
That's what I get for sure.
Yeah, that's bad. So, my primary project is the Shenandoah, my 1970 Scout 800. That is like at this point, kind of like my favorite and primary adventure vehicle. It only seats 2. So I guess I'll just run through a couple things I'm doing. And like,
Okay. Real quick, what makes that one? I don't know. Do you work on that one because of the demand, or is there something about it that makes it easier to work on? Does that make sense?
yeah, I think two things. The demand, yes. Like I know we have trips coming up, so I have to get it ready. And number two, I think I just really like it. Like I enjoy it. It's one of the ones I've put the most effort into, not in my life, but like recently.
Yeah.
I like it.
I know
So-
for me, like working on the Terrible is a little bit easier than other stuff because it's like it's not super nice, so I can just kind of do stuff a little bit haphazardly, but I'm not afraid to just get things done.
Yeah, that's right.
And that goes to the analysis process. Like on my yellow truck, it's like, oh, this is a nice truck. I want to make sure I do this right and like be thorough.
I'm gonna go get a visual cue. So tell us, like, just kind of talk about what is the primary stuff you're doing on the Yellow Scout and where we are, you guys. Like, and we're really fortunate to have this space, but this is kind of our personal New Legend Anything Scout employee kind of shop. So like, this is where on weekends and nights, like, we'll come to work on our own projects and store kind of some stuff. There's some customer overflow in here, but so yeah, talk to us about what you're doing on the Yellow Scout and some things you want to do on the Terrible. I'm gonna go get something.
You're grabbing something, so I'm talking to the people here. You're not listening. Yeah, so my yellow truck is like kind of my summer daily driver. It's an all original 1974 Scout 2. I did a LS swap with a 5-speed manual transmission, and it's just getting to the point where the floor is rusty. I did the front floors, I'm doing the rear floors now, and it's just trying to do it right so it'll last, but I'm not doing a full restoration, so I can't go as in depth as we would regularly do in a build-in house.
Because you're keeping it patina exterior. You're fighting for
keeping it patina. I'm also a budget guy. I'm not like, I don't have 3 years to do a full restoration myself.
Right.
I enjoy driving this. I just want to make it solid and last. And so trying to skirt that line of doing it right, but doing it kind of home and getting it done type of thing.
And it's super cool.
Great truck. I love
Great
it.
truck.
I love driving that thing.
Did you talk about the door gap you're trying to fix?
Door gap. Back in my infancy, I crashed it.
Like backed
Like
into
the first vehicle I ever crashed. I think I crashed it into the Terrible actually before the Terrible was my truck.
That's funny.
And so I messed up the quarter panel and kind of closed the door gap, and so I'm trying to stretch that back out and get that stuff aligned without, cutting everything apart and kind of starting fresh as we would in a regular build. But
And that's a tough project, man, because it's like not the most motivating thing because it's like
it's not critical to do, but
Yeah,
it's like
just- you gotta get it
this is
done.
right. So,
yeah. And then your 2002, you're doing a motor swap.
2002, bought it with a bum motor. So yeah, doing a motor swap, got the motor in, and now it's just kind of like some of the nitty gritty stuff that's wiring. Wiring has been a
Ugh.
big slowdown. I think that's a huge thing for everybody. Just electricity is beyond me.
In one thing, so you asked my projects. I got the Shenandoah. We have an FSR adventure trailer. That's really awesome. It's been
Okay.
like really freeing to us and our family, and just exploring, and even on our trips. So when you have a 2-seater truck,
Oh, it's
like
great.
having all that
Just,
space
extra
is
space.
awesome. Storage. So I'm putting a hot water system in that, and a battery, solar, like just kind of to make it a little more standalone home base kind of style.
And this is all stuff that's kind of, as we've talked about forever in past episodes, this is the evolution of, I need
right.
this. This is what would be.
I got
make our
it
experience
as
better.
is. Like, yep. And then we've taken it on a ton of trips, probably 10,000 miles worth of road trips. And we determined the best campsites, because my wife, I've told you this on the show before, my wife will do pretty much anything adventure wise as long as she can take a shower every day. And she's not like picky about that necessarily, but like what we found in a trip to like Wyoming, North Dakota, Montana, was all the best campsites don't have showers. So it forced us to stay at like KOAs, at like campgrounds that weren't the greatest. And And so we said, hey, let's just put a. So we have
Innovate
this
and
we have this Nemo Heliopolis. So we have the enclosure. I got a Camp Chef, I think it is the brand, like hot water heater and a 15-gallon tank. And it's like, I've never done that before, but it's kind of fun laying it all out and putting a battery on it and that kind of stuff. So that's that project. And then I have my BMW E30.
Oh yeah.
That's been a long project. I have so much time in it, but it's hard to manage that. So I'm kind of letting that one stretch out a little bit. And then there's just maintenance on all the other, like the Suburban. We just repainted the roof. So that means taking that all apart, and now I like crashed the back doors, like getting those repainted. This Scout, we've taken it on quite a few road trips, like to Nashville and Austin. Mm-hmm. So it needed maintenance. Yeah, I have a couple of cars that I'm getting ready to sell. So anyway, but let's start getting into. So there's the reality. Like many of you,
I really thought a pitch for the Ford Probe was coming, man. You're gonna sell the get people hyped on the white 5-speed.
That's
here.
coming.
Okay,
don't worry.
Next time.
Yeah, we're doing something special with the Laser first, and then the Probe, because I have a new sweet car.
Wow,
the pinnacle of 80s turbo technology
Right.
and performance coming my way.
Can't wait to see.
Okay, so first, I want to lay out a couple things that have been really key for getting projects done, particularly in the winter when maybe there's like some travel lulls. Number one is space. So allocate a space to work. Because if you're trying to like move it around every time.
Seeing like setting up and tearing down every night is just kills you.
And I don't care if it's like your knife project or a car project. For me, and my wife hates this, but if I leave it like set up, I'm more likely to like just go dip in for a half hour and like do a little bit of work and then like get distracted.
Is this set up to the point where it's like very inconvenient? So you just go like, oh geez, I need to get this done so it's not a hassle.
You think? I think it's like the setup. If you have to like totally reset up, retool up to do the work, it's I'm not talking about cleaning up after yourself. That's another thing we talk about. But I just mean having it present, like it's in a designated space, and like you can come drop in and out of that particular project. Mm-hmm. So maybe for you, if you got like I do, I have like 10 knives that all need to be sharpened. But if I lay them all out and put my sharpening stones out, and I just leave them on like the dining room table, which
eventually Heather will yell at you enough that you'll get it done.
Yeah. Then I'm like, every time I walk by, I'm like, I gotta remember. And I might do one or two, and then I'll move on. Then I'll get distracted and do something else.
Yeah. Okay.
And these are like fun, like what I'm kind of not, because all of us like have. If you own a home or you have other projects like that you need to do, this would apply to that. But I mean, I'm talking primarily hobby projects, whatever level of severity, scope, or deadlines, or whatever looming deadlines are coming. So get yourself a space. For me, that's been really important. I got the Shenandoah right behind the cameras over there. It's all set up. I set up a table. I keep my parts organized, and that's so space. Allocating space for your project is the first, and I think the first key.
Okay.
Second, trying to think. Yeah, I'll get to this. Second, so space number one. Number two,
Space one.
allocate time. Mike Austin in the Hemmings episode talked about 30 minutes a day for, I can't remember, 3 weeks or something, or for a month, for 30 days, 30 minutes a day for 30 days. And he's probably done with that. So we'll, on the Hemmings Motor News, they're going to have a blog about it. Which I'm super curious to see how he did.
Yeah.
But setting a time, really important. How do you do with that? Or what do you think about that?
I don't do good at. I think that's a great idea. I tend to just go like, all right, I'm gonna come in Saturday afternoon and just work till midnight and like just do 8-hour sessions or something.
You're more of a cram guy. Like, I get that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that's good. That's how it tends to be. I do like I'm willing to give the 30 minutes a day a try. But I think that does a little bit go hand in hand with space, because if you got 30 minutes
That's
and you
right.
got to
That's
spend
what I'm
20
saying.
minutes setting up,
That's right.
so that's some of that is going to be a balance on the space you do have.
Right. For me, allocating the time has probably been more important than any other contributing factor or strategy. So and I've been so fortunate to have my son who's interested, Owen, my youngest son, who's interested in learning some things. And so he and I, what we kind of set out probably in December was we're going to spend every Saturday that I'm home, and like that we don't have company in town or something like that, but every Saturday from 10 to 3, which is a huge thing for if you're married to have your wife go, yeah, that's cool. To just be supportive of that is really special. So I'm super appreciative to my wife, and but that's just become our Saturday rhythm. And like what's happened is a couple of his buddies have jumped in, so they're regular people here in the Terribles shop on Saturdays. So then I take that time and I go, so now there's a rhythm, and now it's becoming a habit to say 10 to 3. So I like wake up early Saturday and go like just spend time with the family, have coffee, bagels, like whatever. Then I go 10 o'clock, let's round up the boys, let's go. But having that rhythm, consistency it's to where I look forward to it now. And it's like, that's just my thing. It's like what we do until for the winter. I'm sure that's been kind of my goal. And sacrifice, like you have to sacrifice something, like, cause we don't have, like, time is like one of the most limited resources we have. So I know that I'm sacrificing getting work done on my house. I know I'm sacrificing, I could work. There's lots of other things, leisure. I could go just sit at home, and I'm tired, on the weekends, but, so that scheduled time.
Scheduled time. Is that 3? No,
That's 2.
Yeah,
Space
yeah.
and a scheduled time. Are you inspired yet? You're gonna.
I'm stoked. Man. I can't wait to hear what 3 is.
Number 3 is research. So, research means because again, back to like, so let's say you say I'm going to be here for 3 hours on Saturday, whatever. So you show up and realize I don't have any parts.
See, that's part of my problem. That's where like the 8 hours, like once a month doing 8 hours, because then I come back and I go like, where was I again? And so it takes me like an hour to reorient and like figure out what all I need, and then I gotta go get stuff. And
so what I do is when I'm working here, I always try to plan ahead to go. I'll step into the next one, but research the parts like the project. Read forums, educate yourself, watch tech tip videos from Anything Scout.
Ooh.
Whatever you have to do that research before you get to that scheduled time, because then you don't want to burn up that time by going like, okay, now what am I doing? And keep ahead of what you need. And this has challenged me because like it's hard to think of everything. So I realized like I bought this Quadrajet carburetor for the Shenandoah, but I realized I didn't get the right fuel feed inlet. It's like a 3/8 NPT kind of, or no, it's not. It's 3/8 flare, inverted
there's
flare.
always going to be those.
So like I didn't have that fitting,
up.
and now I'm like, crud, I can't finish the fuel system. So then I keep little notes on my notes app.
So to that point, when you come in, do you go like, these are 3 things I could work on? I'll do this one until that potentially come to a stopping point, and then I can jump on this?
Yeah, so that gets to my 4th point.
Okay.
So thanks for asking. Organize. So if you're watching this on video, I started this in probably December, and I laid out every single project that I wanted to do.
If you're not watching this on video, he's holding up a piece of cardboard with a bunch of stuff written out on it.
Yeah. Starter, intake, Quadrajet, cylinder heads, exhaust, canopy, cage, rear diff, rear axle, leaf springs. I'm stretching the wheelbase. Finish the roll cage, onboard air, onboard welder, dual batteries, some minor rust repair, rock sliders, power steering pump, reservoir, and cooler.
And this does a couple of things, in my opinion anyways. When you come in, you can look down this and kind of choose something, so you don't have to like you're not coming off it fresh, but then you also go, okay, I need to do this before I do this, and
That's
this
right.
affects this.
And that's what I mean by organized. So what you discover, you're right, is like, so number 3 on my list, if you could see it, is exhaust system. So I had a terrible rig job exhaust system on it, and it was too loud. So I want it quieter. And not on this list is my transmission. I think I'm going to change my transmission and my rear axle. Like, I'm stretching the wheelbase 8 inches. So if you've ever built anything, or if you've done the correct research, you're going to go, I can't build my exhaust until I choose and do my transmission, and also until I move my rear axle and suspension and fuel tank, everything that requires. So exhaust is open because I can't finish it until I finish those other things.
Does this stuff, does a list like this, and no offense, you go big. You like to, I mean,
Yeah,
when
I
you
went
look
too
at your
big.
Shenandoah, you go, oh yeah, dude, I'm going to do everything. Does a list like this help you go, oh, this is a lot of stuff?
Yeah.
Or does it inspire you more?
No, it kind of overwhelms me, and like, but again, it keeps me organized. So, and now I'm just deep into it. So I have not done the transmission yet, but my clutch is messed up. My transmission is and I've talked about it before, it's a weird kind of configuration of a Ford T18, a homemade adapter, a Dana 20. It's not great. And I'm fortunate I have a lot of parts laying around. I have an NV 4500 Dana 300 combo. I have a International T19 Dana 20 combo. I just want to make it not so rigged. Because on our trips, like the Shenandoah is typically the one that breaks down the most. Now this goes to also all this work.
Yeah, right.
And while we're on this topic, let's just talk about, let's debate. Luke and I are probably on the polar ends of the spectrum of like how to approach these builds. Because philosophically, I'm like, this is my primary adventure vehicle. I want it to be old school because it's part of our experiment, the social experiment of the Terribles. Like, can we travel like our grandparents and parents? I don't want it to be super nice. Like, I don't care if it's like got some rust. I want it to have some character and story to it. But at the same time, I want it to be nice. I want to be able to air up my tires if I want to.
It's got to be sound. Things need to work as they should.
Yeah, I want to be able to enjoy my trip because I'm not worried about things breaking down. And I just like things. I like a welder. I had the opportunity to get a welder. It wasn't as cheap as I thought because I ended up having to buy more parts for it. But like, so now we'll have an onboard welder. Now we'll have onboard air. But you and I have debated, and you've said like you want to spend as little money as possible and like keep it as stock as possible, right?
Well, and I don't know if stock is possible, but as many kind of stock parts, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the same thing. Maybe it's, in my mind, it's different. Because I like the idea that I break a leaf spring, I go out behind the barn, I grab another leaf spring, it goes right on, you know?
Yeah, and there's a lot of wisdom to that.
So I'm definitely of the keep it simple mentality.
But like, for example, I rewired my truck with a used harness, but nonetheless, it's a modern harness.
Yeah.
You've kept yours original.
Until it all burns down.
Yeah. What else? Like, I mean, mine had a Chevy 350, so that's like a moot point. But like, I've tried to get Luke to put a 4-barrel intake on his, and he won't do it. Where I just changed the cylinder heads on my truck, and there was nothing wrong with my old cylinder heads. I just had some better heads, and I wanted to try a Quadrajet for like, because some of it for me too is I feel like we're supposed to be experts in our field, and so I want to be the most educated to go, hey, Holley carburetors respond like, and honestly, who's running carburetors? And a lot of Scout people are, but like I want to say, hey, Quadrajets are awesome for this. Oh, they do this. Edelbrocks run like this. Holley's run like
And that
this.
is a good point. Like, if I was to experiment more with all the different stuff and test things out, giving myself a broader knowledge base, I do see a lot of value in that. So that is tempting me.
Okay.
But at the same time, I like to just, I don't know. You know, my 2-barrel, it's running great. I was getting
great.
good gas mileage. I'm going to spend my time and energy on something else that I can improve easier.
So how about like, again, for me, this is a contrast. And I don't know if it's just because you're younger than me, 15 years younger. So like your body can handle a little more abuse. But like seat comfort or because I've gone out of my way to, this is my second set of seats and I'm contemplating a third set of seats.
Really?
Yeah.
You got something better?
Not used.
Oh man. Sean's seats are going to be worth more than my whole truck. That's
right.
what that means.
But just like, because I want to be, like, saying I want to be comfortable in the Shenandoah is like
Oh, that's good, man.
not really
It makes
being
sense.
comfortable still. But like a suspension seat. So like, I'm not like, you're not so fatigued
Like from
after.
like a bus, like a semi hydraulic. Like,
Yeah, no, just like spinal compression.
Okay.
No, like a suspension seat, like a Mastercraft Rubicon,
Yeah,
where it's just got like some give to
Yeah.
it. My seats are actually pretty comfortable.
I'm getting close to where I'm enjoying the misery less and less.
Okay.
So there'll be steps taken to.
Okay, yeah. Speaking of
limit
that, you have some plans for your doors, right? To like,
Yeah, so I got to do some inserts, man. So the plan is to make sort of some wax canvas, sort of snap-on inserts on the lowers, and then like either some plexiglass or some sort of kind of temp window that slides in for when I'm truly miserable.
and like I said, this is like a bonus episode, kind of a vibe. So we're talking very specifically about Scout stuff in our
Yeah,
project. So
yeah.
don't check out. Like, there's principles. Try to be patient for the
Yeah.
principles. Okay, so allocate a space, set a time, some rhythm,
Space,
create a rhythm
time.
with time. So space, time, do your research, order your parts that you need beforehand. And a lot of you guys are pretty good, I'm sure, at that. Like researching, getting the parts, and now you have this big pile of parts. You've watched a couple videos. Now you need to organize the project, do more research. Like, do I put exhaust in first? Do I cut the motor mounts out? And I would, if you listen to the last episode with Stuart, what we talked about was a lot of the same principles, because the same principles kind of apply if you're having a shop do the work. Totally valid to have the shop do the work because you may need to, the space thing is not really a thing, but time to do research, time to follow up and be educated. Help your builders shouldn't really need help organizing the project, but to be informed about it. A lot of guys go in with a pretty good. It's helpful. I like working with people that have some like knowledge, and I like it all. But like when people say like, "Hey, I know exactly what I want. Here's how, not
right.
how I
Yeah,
want it to be
yeah.
done, but like just have a really firm direction is helpful versus like I have no idea what I want. Help me figure it out, which that's fun too. Okay, space, time, research, organize. Fifth, accountability.
Okay, what does that mean?
This was a huge one for my son especially. My son was like dragging his feet. So parents, if you have children and you want them to learn something or do something that's maybe not supernatural for them, supernatural, but like a natural thing, like you're obviously not going to have to break their leg to go like, hey, you want to play video games? They're going to just do that. But if you say like, hey, do you want to help me fix the tractor or mow the lawn or adjust our front door? How I got Owen involved was I said, like, we're going to video this. So we're going to create a shop days. We're just going to document this with GoPros and video cameras. And that was enough for him to go like, I like YouTube. That sounds kind of
so
fun.
Bringing in a little, like, kind of combining some of the worlds here.
Combining the worlds and then giving him the GoPro and going like, hey, just walk us through like what you just did. And we haven't edited anything yet, but that was like really, so when I say accountability, that GoPro for us, that process of like filming what we do helps us to slow down, stay organized, and it brings accountability. Now it also, that's where social media can be so fun because it's a natural kind of accountability, like a naturally motivating accountability. Because like you're sharing pictures and your friends are commenting and random strangers are commenting like, oh, I love what you're doing. Like, and then you start interacting. And then, I think with people on the other end, if there's no progress, and this forums used to be this, but I think social media is kind of a better way to do it nowadays. Is like, hey, how's that? You still working on this? Like, how's it going? Like,
That is kind of interesting. I hadn't thought about that before, but I do follow a couple guys who are just like their Instagram is just them building up their vehicle.
yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, what's new? What's been going on?
But doing that kind of commits you, again, just like setting aside time or space, it commits you to like, I got to keep this going.
Yeah.
I like interacting with people. I like the community I'm building.
No, that's really good because that's, I mean, flipping the thing that social media that typically takes you away from that kind of stuff,
Right.
But forcing it to
Yeah,
sort of
like
bring you back around.
Some of you guys have listened to the Vanagon J episode. He got a new Synchro. It's really, really cool. But he just started posting like some cleanup because it was disgusting, dude. There was like some dude living in there for a couple of years when like going to the bath. It was just awful. So just like starting to show like, hey, tearing out the interior, just getting going on it. He's like, man, I have like 100 new requests
People loving
of
that?
people want to like follow me. Because people love that. Like people are just curious and
Love
like
watching stuff getting done.
Yeah, for sure.
Love
So-
seeing progress.
brings, and like accountability can also be like inviting friends. So if you say like, hey, Luke, can you help me this Saturday? And then Luke's like, sure. Now you're kind of committed to like making that happen and getting stuff done. And like, that'll help you with your organization. It just kind of helps everything. So think of I'm sure there are 100% are other creative ways to get accountability into the structure. But I also feel like my wife is being super cool and not at all allowing me, but she's supporting Owen and I doing this. Like I owe it to that support to like be productive. And so
And what's been cool is Owen and his buddies come in, start wrenching on trucks initially, and now they got their own like little fleet of bikes and stuff that they're wrenching on, and
"Dad,
it just
we bring
kind of
our bikes."
expands.
Yeah, it's really fun. And like my daughter Liv and Tyler are working on the Volvo. Like, so it actually creates a really fun, like why we got into this business in the first place. We just love working on stuff. And so it's been nice because when you build trucks professionally, you put like your heart and soul into them. And sometimes you get burned out. It's really, really difficult it's like if you program all day or, run numbers all day, like coming home and working on your own budget or making a website for fun, it gets hard because that's what's so awesome about these vehicles. For a lot of people, it's a kind of a stress relief. It's a bit of an escape. Like, hey, I can put on a podcast or put on some music and just go be in my garage, and that's a magical thing. And if you're a dude out there who doesn't have that in his life, I think it'll make you a better person. What do you think about that? Do hobbies and interest? That's just, maybe I'm not trying to say it like it sounds selfish, but having something that you're interested in, whether it's reading or research or like having coffee with people, whatever. I just think having something that
Definitely need something.
just something that helps you get stoked. And for some of us, it's not just that. Like if the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup, that's pretty sad. You need something else to look forward to. Can be a good thing. I'm not knocking the Folgers, but
Folgers may be good. They could be turning around. I don't know.
could be turning around.
We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, but having something to do, and I also like strongly encourage you if you have a Scout or a vintage 4x4 or a car project or not, like to think about getting one. It's a really fun thing. It's a way to bond with your kids. It's a way to bond with your friends. It's a way to grow your competence and confidence. And like I have such great stories of like being with guys, and it's like you help them do something, but let them do the work, and like the sense of accomplishment and pride that comes from like, especially for like white collar people that don't really get dirty or work with their hands every day. Like building something, whether it's leather working, whatever, I don't care what it is, but it's like there's a great sense of accomplishment and pride in like, yo, I just built this.
Yeah.
check it out.
For sure. Check it out.
Anyway, so
All
just
right. Give us a quick wrap up. What were the 5 again? 4 or 5?
5 things.
5 things.
Allocate a space.
Space.
Set a time. Do your research. Get organized. Organize the project. Scope. All that kind of good stuff. Leave yourself notes. Just be organized about it, because a lot of these projects is the culmination of a lot of small victories. So think about it that way. Like, yeah, I finished the fuel line. Pumped. For you, like I finished putting the fabricating the radiator.
Checking stuff off. That's satisfying.
It is also critical in the organization phase if you're managing multiple projects, because like my trailer, it has its own set of problems and parts and research, so I keep notes on all the different projects that I'm doing, so that if I don't get to it for 3 weeks or I'm traveling, I can come back and go, okay, where am I? Okay, here I am. Leave the tools organized. And then accountability. Set up some kind of accountability structure, whether hopefully it's a positive one, not like, like discipline. Like I'm going to punch myself in the face if I don't get this done. 5 lashes today. Anyway, so the 6th step is probably the most important. Get started.
Get started.
Just go do something, man.
I like it.
So, Luke, best of luck to you.
And to you.
Getting your terrible project ready for Moab and then for the Doozy Ursham. We're doing a really cool meetup. For those of you that have been following along with us, we did a meetup in Nashville in December. It was so fun and just really amazing group of people. Similar experience in Austin. They were, man, what a wonderful group of people. Super fun. We're going to be in LA in June for, again, a meetup. So if you are in California or Vegas or anywhere, Phoenix, like come out to LA in June. It's open to all Scout owners. When more information will come out about that. And then we're doing Wisconsin in, I think, September. Wisconsin, Michigan. We have a really fun. That's going to be our meetup that we host.
Yeah.
It's not really in Iowa, but
pretty close.
Close enough.
Midwest.
So get your projects ready. Get out to those meetups, and let's have some fun. Thanks for listening. As always, if you feel so inclined, leave a positive review or tell a friend about the show. And we're so appreciative to be able to do this and that people actually listen to our rantings and ravings. Anyway, until next time. See ya. Thanks, Luke.
Yep.